We're glad to have Winnie Sun, Managing Director of Sun Group Wealth Partners, once again with us talking money during this pandemic. And let's dive right into it when it comes to PPP 2.0. We're talking about the Paycheck Protection Program. It's up and running here, just came out. Who can get it, Winnie?
Well, there's some good news. As many of you remember, the PPP came out in March 27, 2020 as part of the CARES Act. And here's the good news is this is something that's for, number one, first-time borrowers, as well as those who actually received the first round of PPP. And the better news is for those of you who are concerned that the first round, maybe, you weren't able to get funding because the money ran out, definitely the government has learned from that experience, and they're making sure that this round, definitely the money goes to the people who need it most of all. So it is absolutely now is the time to get started. So if you're a sole practitioner, you're self-employed, small business owner, as long as you have under 500 employees, this is something you should be looking at. This includes nonprofits as well.
So what's the biggest difference, would you say, compared to round one and round two here?
Well, they really wanted to make sure, first off, one thing that's good. Publicly traded companies are absolutely a no-go in this situation. Also, you're going to find more banks and financial institutions be able to help you. What you need to do is first is make sure you get those applications in. Now, the government definitely included some special funding for groups such as, live entertainment venues, such as museums, movie theaters, and any company that can show a 25% reduction in revenues from 2019 to 2020. So if you're not sure, definitely check with your bookkeeper or whoever helps you with your business taxes, or if you do it yourself, you just want to compare those numbers because you're going to have to produce IRS documents, okay? And for those with less than 10 employees, they're definitely making a priority to get money to you. And this is actually really interesting too, Mike. For a lot of news groups, they actually have, the government is saying, you know what, for those who have less than a certain amount of employees in any location, especially in the news area, definitely there's funding for you as well.
Okay, good to know. Stock market, 2020, what a year of ups and downs, and the Nasdaq, S&P 500, all positive. The Dow positive as well. They talk about the real estate bubble and popping. Is there talk among investors about concerns, kind of like a market bust, that there may be some pullback for 2021?
Yes, Mike, we're actually seeing a lot more of that news coming out right now. A lot of analysts as well as market experts are saying that there is reason to be concerned. The market obviously has done very well during the pandemic and before that, and so we are overdue for a correction. And so that being said, do we expect a major correction for 2021? It's really hard to say, right? There's a lot of factors that are outside of normal investing principles, such as the pandemic. And so I think the overall consensus is right now, we do think you should continue to contribute if you're able to the long-term financial goals. But it's really important to take a look and be mindful of your risk. If you're just too heavily weighted in one industry, we know a lot of clients, in fact, are heavily weighted in areas such as technology and whatnot, might not be a bad idea to reassess that and make sure as your new monies go in, that they continue to be in a diversified portfolio.
And when you mentioned like a major correction, I mean, not to put a percentage on it, like, is that anything above 10%, or are we talking more 20, 25%?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we would all agree, 10% correction, that's major. That's like
Okay.
if you had a $200,000 portfolio, right? And you drop 20,000 and any day or any week, I think you would be nervous. So certainly I think that's just the beginning of it. Remember, there were certainly days and years prior where the market dropped in excess of 40%. Now, that's not to say that that's going to happen in 2021, but it's good to know that you're prepared in case there is a correction, that your portfolio can weather the storm, and more importantly, that you can weather the income storm as well. So make sure your emergency fund continues to be a top priority for you to save up, and then obviously save for those long-term financial goals. Those are all things you should be doing right now as we're going into tax season and beyond.
All right, great tip there. Retirement contribution limits. Anything that needs to be on our radar when it comes to this?
Yes, I'm so glad we're talking about this because so often we forget, we don't really think about those contribution limits until the end of the year. But actually the beginning of the year is one of the best times to put this at top of mind. So for those of you who still continue to work and are able to have an income, do remember that for 2021, your IRA or your Roth IRA contribution this year is 6,000. Those of you who are over 50, you get a bonus, so you're able to contribute up to 7,000. That's in excess to your 401k. So 401k contributions for 2021 are 19,500. That's 401k, 403b, and 457. And if you're over the age of 50, you get to contribute up to 26,000. That's an extra 6,500. That's a nice benefit. So if you're able, this is something to start early on, because I always have to have our clients contribute more in the beginning of the year. So ideally November, December, you might have a little bit of holiday shopping money too.
Okay, let's talk about rental assistance real quick, because so many Americans right now are concerned about being evicted from their apartments or houses. They haven't been able to pay rent. I know there's rental assistance out there, billions of dollars in it. Can people right now get that money so that they can start to pay their rent and therefore won't be evicted?
Yes, so this is great news, Mike. So the Emergency Rental Assistance Program, believe it or not, starts tomorrow. So definitely something to start researching today. Now, to qualify for this rental assistance, it's a big deal. If you think you qualify, you should definitely look into this, because if one member of your household has lost income or incurred significant expenses due to the pandemic, you might be eligible for this. And especially for those who are eligible for unemployment benefits, definitely look into this, because this is the thing. If you qualify, you could get as much as 12 months of back rent support. Okay, this is huge. The government will provide this. And this can not only go to rent, but also your utilities too.
Yeah. What about, I mean, sometimes you would hear the argument from landlords going, hey, I'm trying to pay my rent too. I have multiple investments in different buildings. Are they able to get their hands on this too? Or is this strictly for people who they live in a house and they pay a landlord rent or an apartment?
So that's a great question. So I would say for those homeowners who own rental property, who have their tenants back on rent, you should look into this too, because you could actually apply on behalf of your tenant. Your tenant would need to approve it and sign it, of course, and send it out. But this can make up to 12 months of back rent and future rent in the forthcoming months too. So this helps both of you. So definitely there's some great resources online. I would start with Google. You can even jump on the phone, type in 211 or 311, look for because it varies city to city. Okay. So check within your city, and tomorrow is the day. So I would start doing research today, and tomorrow apply ASAP.
And what's the number? I mean, is it $20 billion that's out there?
It's 25 billion right now, and President Biden's hoping for another 30 billion.
Okay. Winnie Sun, Managing Director of Sun Group Wealth Partners. Always a pleasure, Winnie. Have a great week.
Thank you so much, Mike. Take care.
All right.